I got a question for y'all. Have college quarterbacks gotten this bad? When have college quarterbacks been this terrible? I do not remember, man. I grew up watching RG3, Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Marcus Mariota, you name it. Dogs at quarterback, man. They might have not panned out in the NFL level, but these guys were monsters at the collegiate level. And it's now when I watch quarterbacks play in college, I'm just thinking like, these guys are ass, man. Like, Riley Leonard is ass. Drew Aller is ass. Quinn Ewers, I mean, these guys are just average at best. Like, that's it. And it's kind of sad to see. It's kind of sad to watch because quarterbacks used to do their thing, man. Used to be all quarterbacks at the Heisman ceremony. Now I see why only Dylan Gabriel showed up. But at the end of the day, he's been in college football for what, 6 or 7 years? So he has the most experience out of all of them, so it makes sense, you know? But these quarterbacks have been absolutely terrible. The quarterback play is garbage now. I don't know what happened. And you could tell by the draft that's coming up that quarterbacks they're just not producing like they used to, man. I don't know if it's the coaching that they're getting before they get to the collegiate level, but these quarterbacks are regressing, man. These college quarterbacks aren't it anymore. But regardless of that, let's get into this first game. We had Notre Dame versus Penn State. Notre Dame came out on top, 27-24, and I honestly think that Notre Dame is an average team at best. They're not a good offensive team. They can run the football, don't get me wrong, but they're not a good passing team. They don't scare you vertically at all. You know what I'm saying? Riley Leonard is just not a great passer. He's more of a runner, if anything. And I think that played out in this game. Drew Aller, he's neither. He's not a runner or a passer. That guy is just fucking terrible. Point blank, period. He has 2 5-star running backs that he just turns around and hands the ball off to. And next thing you know, they're in the end zone. That's the only way they score the football. If it was up to Drew Aller and Riley Leonard, the score would have probably been 3-3. I'm not even joking. Like, these quarterbacks are fucking terrible. And the one touchdown that Riley Leonard did throw is because the Penn State cornerback fell down, so he was wide the fuck open. Like, if you would have missed that, you would have got benched. You know what I mean? So let's get into some stats here. We had Riley Leonard. He went 15-23 for 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was absolutely ass. I got to keep it 100, man. He was ass. And Drew Aller was even more ass. These quarterbacks were literally having a mid-off, like which one is, let's see who could play worse. And I think Drew Aller played a little bit worse than Riley Leonard. And I only say that because Riley Leonard used his feet to make some plays, and that ended up putting Notre Dame in positions to score a little bit more than Drew Aller. And it's honestly sad, man. These quarterbacks are just regressing real bad. They're not nowhere near as good, or they don't have the skill level as quarterbacks that played in college 10 years ago. And that's just point blank period. Even 5 years ago. Like, the past few years, you could tell the drop-off has been dramatic with quarterbacks. And Notre Dame, they're going to the national championship, but I don't see them winning it. I really don't. Jeremiah Love, shout out to him. That boy ran hard, especially on that one run. He would not be denied. He said, "No, I'm not going down," and I respect that, man. He played hurt, so I got to give a big shout out to him, and I got to give a big shout out to Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. Them boys ran hard as hell. They ran the rock, man. They wanted Penn State to win, and you could see it how they was running the football. They was not playing games out there, and man, you got to show love to that. You got to respect that. They kept them in the game for sure, because it definitely wasn't Drew Aller. That guy is fucking terrible, man. I feel bad for Tyler Warren. Go ahead and declare for the draft, man. You don't want to play with no quarterback like that. Imagine what his stats would have looked like with a decent quarterback. I know they won some games this year. I know they had some good offensive philosophies that scheme Tyler Warren open and things of that nature. But, man, Drew Aller is just terrible. That one interception where they called it back, like, you throwing into triple coverage, my guy. What the fuck are you doing? Do you not see? Are you not seeing the field? And then the last interception, when he had a chance to win the game, he's rolling left and he throws in the middle of the field late across his body to the fucking Notre Dame cornerback. Then after the game, he tried to say that he tried to throw it at his feet so it'd just be an incomplete pass. He tried to throw it away. No, the fuck you didn't, bro. You was trying to hit that receiver and the corner was all over it. And you cannot throw over your body late. That's a cardinal sin as a quarterback. I just don't understand, man. These quarterbacks ain't shit no more. That was just a real sad performance by both of them. Riley Leonard, he had 18 carries for 35 yards. Those 35 yards were big, man. That put them in position to win the game, honestly. And I got to give credit to him. He ended up outplaying Drew Aller just a little bit. But, man, like, even the run game wasn't there like that. You know what I mean? Jeremiah Love, 11 carries, 45 yards. Nicholas Singleton, 15 carries, 84 yards. Pretty good. Katron Allen, 19 carries, 82 yards. If it wasn't for those two five-star running backs Penn State had, they wouldn't have scored any points because Drew Aller wasn't doing shit. He went 12 of 23, 135 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. And this guy was, a 5-star coming out of high school. He's terrible. He's fucking awful. Like, he's worse than Sean Clifford from last year. It's crazy, man. Like, and parity has gotten a lot better in college football. There's no dominant team anymore because of the transfer portal and NIL and things of that nature. But, man, that was a truly horrific quarterback play from both teams. Absolutely. I cannot deny it. But I got to give credit to Notre Dame. They ended up coming out on top. Riley Leonard made some plays with his feet. Drew Aller couldn't do that. I don't know why. He seems like he's kind of athletic. He could get out the pocket, but I guess Notre Dame wasn't having it. They have a pretty cool defense. I wouldn't say great, but they have a good defense. And I think that's what led them to this victory, honestly. That defense and their run game came alive late because they weren't running the ball well in the first half, but in the second half, they started to get some things going. And Penn State, they was running the ball pretty well as well, but when time gets crunched and time ain't on your side, you can't run the football anymore. You got to throw the football. You know what I'm saying? And that's where Drew Aller is just, you've seen how awful he was, man. So credit to Notre Dame. They ended up winning 27-24. They're going to be in the national championship. We'll see what Riley Leonard does in that. But I have no hope for him. He's really ass. Now let's get into this next game. We had Ohio State and Texas. The final score ended up being 28-14. Let's get into these stats here. One moment. We had Will Howard. He went 24-33 for 289 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. We had Quinn Ewers. He went 23-39, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Will Howard wasn't great. Quinn Ewers wasn't great. Their run game was pretty great, both teams. Texas run game kept them in this game. They fought hard. Their defense tried to keep them in this game. They did a lot better against Ohio State than I thought they would. They shut Jeremiah Smith down. I really thought he was going to go crazy against them, but they were bracketing him, double teaming, triple teaming him, and that's what you got to do. Like, if it's a receiver that could change the game, you got to take him out the game and make others beat you. And that's what Texas tried to do, but others were ready on Ohio State. They were ready. Travion Henderson, that screen pass right before the half. I thought it was going to be over. I thought they was going to just run the ball a couple times and go into the locker room. But nah, Ryan Day had different plans, man. He caught that screen pass. That was a great call, and he ended up taking it to the house. I feel like him and Quishon Judkins are monsters. They're going to be both playing on Sundays. They're a great running back duo, so I got to give respect to them. Shout out to them. But yeah, Will Howard, he didn't play great, but he didn't play bad enough to lose them this game. So I'll give him credit there. But I feel like it was some missed opportunities out there that, he just held on to the ball and took the sack when he could have made a throw that could have changed the game. And Quinn Ewers, he had a pitiful first half. They were calling for Arch Manning to come in. You know, they were tired of seeing him. They didn't want to watch him play quarterback anymore, which was understandable. But he bounced back, man. He battled through adversity. He had pressure in his face, but he was still sticking in there making throws. He was doing some okay things. But Texas overall, I feel like their defense let up a little bit, and that's what caused Ohio State to come in and really take over the game. But really, the game came down to the end. The final score wouldn't indicate that, but it was what was it, 2nd and 1 on the 1 yard line, and this dude Steve Sarkisian calls a halfback toss on the 1 yard line. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, whew. I'm glad I'm not a Texas fan, man. I would have went crazy. What the fuck are you doing calling a halfback toss on the 1 yard line? Like, oh, man. That's a terrible call. I feel like Steve Sarkisian called a pretty good game, honestly. The first play, he called a halfback dive, and then the second play, he called the toss. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Them boys came downhill. Caleb Downs and the other ones came downhill, and it ended up being an 8 yard loss. Now you're on the 9 yard line trying to throw it in, and incomplete on the first play. Then we get Jack Sawyer comes in and strips the ball and runs down the fucking sideline for the game. And you were a foot away from tying this shit and giving yourself a chance to win, having your defense go out there and maybe get a stop, you never know, and get you the ball back. But no, you wanted to be, you're the best offensive mind in college football, right? Halfback toss, man, that shit is pathetic, bro. On the 1 yard line. That's really all I got to say about that, man. But Travion Henderson, he ran hard. He did his thing. Quishon Judkins, he ran hard as well. He was going off in the first half. It's like they switch off. It's like, okay, I had a great game last game. Now you start and go off this game. Then he's like, okay, I started and did my thing this game. Now you go off and do your thing. Both of them running backs are going to be playing on Sundays. I'll tell you that right now. There are some great backs. And Ohio State has a great defense. I don't think Texas has a great defense, but their defense played well enough to keep them in this game and maybe to win this game. And I didn't think that was possible. I thought Ohio State was going to run through Texas, but that didn't end up being the case. Texas, they played their heart out, man. They did what they almost did what they needed to do, but at the end of the day, that play call kind of killed them, man. It really did. They were finally getting some momentum. They were finally scoring the football. They're finally moving up and down the field on Ohio State. And I wasn't expecting that, honestly. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, this Texas team, that offense, they moving. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Well, I kind of understand the slack that Quinn Ewers gets, but he's not a terrible quarterback. He's just average. Like I said, these quarterbacks are really regressing, man. None of these quarterbacks are standing out as great players. It's the surrounding cast around them. And you could tell that from the last Final Four teams that's in this college football playoff. None of them have a game changer at quarterback. None of them. Will Howard is not a game changer at all. He had a decent game, but even that interception he threw, it's like he's stuck on his first read. He did not look off the linebacker or anything, and he just dropped right back into coverage, and Will Howard hit him right in the chest with the football. It's frustrating, man. It truly is. It's frustrating watching this, but Ohio State, at the end of the day, their defense won them this game. Their run game won them this game. And Steve Sarkisian won them this game. I got to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Steve Sarkisian, he was calling a great game until then, but he outsmarted himself, man. He thought he was the shit, and that shit ended up costing them the game. I got to keep it 100, man. But Texas, they got some weapons over there. They got a cool run game. I think they will be all right going into next year with Arch Manning. You know what I'm saying? But this year, it's over for them. So we got Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the national championship. And you guys know who I got. I got Ohio State, man. That defense is something else, man. I feel like they're going to really come in and do what they got to do to get that chip. But can't sleep on Notre Dame either, man. Their defense played pretty well as well. They gave up some big plays, but when it came down to it, they made some big stops as well. So I got to give credit to Marcus Freeman and Ryan Day. He finally winning the big games. James Franklin and him had so much pressure on them coming into this game and coming into this playoff. But Ryan Day is really showing that maybe he could be the future coach at Ohio State. Because when they lost to Michigan for like the fourth straight time, it's like, come on, man. Like, we're over this shit. Ohio State, they don't go for that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if he wins this national championship, all that will be erased. So we got a big matchup coming up on January 20th. We'll see how it goes. I think Riley Leonard is trash. I really do. I feel like he's a better runner than he is a quarterback. But hey, that's just me. And Ohio State has a good defense, a great defense. And Notre Dame has a good teetering on great defense. So it should be a defensive battle. But if I had to choose one, I'm going to go with Ohio State, man. That's just what it is. I feel like they're the most complete team left in this playoff. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Please make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We a new channel, man. We really appreciate all y'all. We appreciate anybody watching this. You know what I'm saying? And much love to y'all. Hope y'all stay safe out there, man. It's your boy Trey Mace, Famous Mace of Sports, man. And we out, man. Peace, love.